Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Coming up on today's show, going into the divisional round matchup against the Green Bay Packers, the Niners made a surprise depth chart change. Is that going to hold firm going into the NFC Championship game? What did the Niners do? They elected to start veteran Logan Ryan over Ji'Ayir Brown at safety, and I think it cost San Francisco. I think in this game, going up against a potent Lions offense with a great play caller and play designer in Ben Johnson, with a lot of good wide receivers on that team, a very good tight end in Sam Laporta, a quarterback who's playing confident, efficient ball in Jared Goff, and two really good running backs in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Tackling is going to be important. Playing the run is going to be important. Speed and athleticism to match the Lions' speed and athleticism is going to be critical. You're going to have really sound defense at all three levels of the field, and I think that the San Francisco 49ers have to start Ji'Ayir Brown against Detroit. This Lions team, fast, creative, physical. Logan Ryan is simply too old and too slow. If he's a backup, that's okay. But Ji'Ayir Brown is a really, really good player. Instinctual, tough, physical, will put his hat on the football. And from what I've seen from him, he doesn't over-pursue all that much. But what happened with Logan Ryan on that Aaron Jones 53-yard run, which nearly decided the football game? Over-pursued, whiffed on the tackle, Aaron Jones able to spring free. I get that Ji'Ayir Brown is a young and inexperienced player, but this is simply what it comes down to. Ji'Ayir Brown is the better player than Logan Ryan, and he improves your defense dramatically as compared to having Ryan out there. Ji'Ayir Brown did miss 4 weeks. He missed 2 games with a knee injury. Kyle Shanahan even said, we kept him out of the lineup and we did not play him because he missed some time, so we went with the experience option in Logan Ryan over the rookie. But I completely disagree with that strategy. And it maybe did not cost you against the Green Bay Packers. It could cost you against the Detroit Lions. Because what I don't understand about this move, yeah, he missed some time. Yeah, he is a rookie. But when he did come into the lineup and he replaced Talanoa Hufanga, Ji'Ayir Brown played awesome football as a third-round pick coming out of Penn State for this squad. You look at the Pro Football Focus numbers here. As a rookie, had an overall PFF grade of 77.9. He had a run defense grade of 77.5, a coverage grade of 74.5. What do the Lions do? They establish the run. They get creative with play action. They have a lot of different route concepts. Ben Johnson is a tremendous offensive play caller. So you need a player like Brown to be tough and rugged against the run. You need that athleticism to cover space on that back end, and Logan Ryan simply doesn't have that. And that came on 275 coverage snaps for Brown. He had 2 picks and only 6 missed tackles. So what doesn't make sense is that the Niners went experience over young player. But Logan Ryan this year was picked up late by the Niners, and he didn't have a lot of experience under his belt. He only logged 77 coverage snaps, and I put the LOL in there because sometimes I think football coaches just overthink things. And I think in this instance, San Francisco overthought this just a little bit, and hopefully they make another depth chart adjustment, and they have Ji'Ayir Brown starting over Logan Ryan against the Detroit Lions on Sunday. Do you agree with me? Type A for agree. If you disagree and you want to see Logan Ryan out there because Ji'Ayir Brown worries you with the inexperience, type F Chase. Coming up next, we're going to take your questions. We're going to take your super chats. Opening up the floor for the faithful to sound off. Use hashtag 49ers or send in a super chat to get your questions answered. Also, make sure you join us for our Niners-Lions watch party. Our coverage begins on Sunday with a 2-hour pregame show, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific. Turn on those notifications. Hit that bell icon. Therefore, when we do go live, you will be notified. Also, make sure you download the Game Time app. It's a free download, and you can get $20 off your next ticket purchase using the code NinersChat. But if the Niners advance and you want to go to the big game in Las Vegas, we have a great deal for you. You download the app for free. You use the code VEGAS100, and you get $100 off of your tickets to go to the big game. Now, we're not sure who the Niners might play in the big game. The winner of Ravens-Chiefs. I like Baltimore to punch their ticket. And if it's a rematch, those tickets might be pricey. And they're going to be pricey. It's the Super Bowl, right? But with Game Time, best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the event gets closer. And $100 off the big game when you use the code Vegas100. J.D. Wyatt, a $50 donation to the show. Thank you so much, faithful lady. Sending Debo health prayers. Let's go Niners. Where are Mitchell or Mason during the Packers game? After the game with the Packers, are the Niners ready to play their gameplay? Replace Ryan with Brown, San Francisco. So I see what you're saying, Jeannie, and you're with me, right? Play Ji'Ayir Brown over Logan Ryan. It makes the most sense. And because the Lions are a physical team, match that physicality, give a couple of carries to Jordan Mason to run through a couple of those defenders. I don't think the Niners will, but that's personally what I do. And then you put Christian McCaffrey where he could pose the threat of being a slot wide receiver against that porous Detroit Lions secondary. Mix up the looks a little bit. Kyle Shanahan, get creative and do something that the defense isn't going to expect. Words of wisdom, $2 super chat. I want Bosa's nickname to be Stuntman after this. And Words of Wisdom is saying that because the Lions are banged up along the interior of their offensive line. And what I really want to see from San Francisco, twists, gains, stunts up front, where Nick Bosa lines up at edge, and then he twists around, and he's able to exploit the interior of that Detroit Lions offensive line. I want to see Chase Young line up at defensive tackle. I want to see Nick Bosa, even without a twist, stunt, or a gain, line up at defensive tackle. Put your best players in a position to succeed. And Nick Bosa, first 8 playoff games, he had 8 sacks. Last 4, 0 sacks. Has to come through and get after Jared Goff in this game. Miguel C., $20 super chat. No conservative play calling. Used Mason and Mitchell more. So we have more calls for Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell. You saying the word conservative, don't worry, we're not going to talk politics here, unless you're down. No, in all seriousness, you throw the word out there, conservative, right? I'm wondering if this game comes down to Kyle Shanahan being conservative against the aggressive, formulaic approach of Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, otherwise known as Dan Gambles, is very, very aggressive. Is he going to make an overly aggressive decision that costs Detroit or helps win the game for Detroit? And is Kyle Shanahan going to make a conservative choice that could cost San Francisco or win the game for San Francisco? You have an offensive guru in Shanahan and the play caller. You have Dan Campbell, who doesn't call plays, doesn't have a specialty, but oversees everything, hires good coaches, has a very good roster, and has maximized his unit and has really rallied this squad to the point where they're in their first NFC Championship game since 1991. So 2 different coaches, 2 different personalities. Kyle Shanahan was a wide receiver when he played. Dan Campbell was a tight end in the NFL. Shanahan known as the offensive guru. That is not what Dan Campbell brings to the table. So I can't wait to see what this coaching matchup brings to light in the NFC title game. Lyle Boyard, one of our legends here on the show. Chase, why do you think the Lions are going to score 31 points? That means that the defense is going to be horrible. I say Niners 32, Lions 24. So I'm giving the Lions one more touchdown than you, Lyle. Why I think the Lions can score 31, I think they have maybe the best offensive coordinator in the game in Ben Johnson. They had a lot of different weapons in Amon-Ra St. Brown, who can line up in the slot and be their gadget guy. Jamison Williams is a vertical threat. Sam Laporta is an excellent tight end. You have Josh Reynolds, who's a good player. Khalif Raymond falls under the radar. Not many people realize that he's an impactful guy. You have 2 really good running backs in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Gibbs is the dual threat. Montgomery the physical back, but Gibbs has a physicality to his game too. Lions are banged up on the interior, but Penei Sewell, fantastic right tackle. They're pretty good along the offensive line. So when you combine all of that, it's not saying that the Niners defense is going to be horrible. It's more of a credit to the Detroit Lions for being a really good team. They are here for a reason. Now, Jared Goff has really struggled throwing the ball outdoors as compared to indoors. And there is a part of me that if the Niners play up to their standard, and if they win the turnover battle, they could win this game going away. Lyle, Hopefully my score prediction is wrong. Hopefully it's a Niners dominant victory. Tom Daly, last question of this mailbag. Hey, Chase, do you think the Niners offense can exploit the Lions cornerbacks? I do. And if we can go to those in-depth Lions defensive numbers, here is why. This Lions defense since week 10 has been very, very good against the run. They have been awful against the pass. Rush defense EPA number 3, rush defense success rate number 5. Their pass defense EPA 29th, and their pass defense success rate is at number 30. They have one of the worst pass defenses in the National Football League. So this could actually be a game where Brock Purdy could win it with his arm, and hopefully he avoids a turnover bug. Because if the Niners do that, I love their chances to win this game. Make sure you give me a follow on X. Give me a follow on Instagram at Chase_Senior. Been putting out a lot of short form content on my social media pages. So give me a follow. Say what's up. Looking forward to hearing from the faithful.